All right. So I've got the stack index here. Let's go look for a tab index reference on the constructor here. Prepare condition for index. This should be condition frame index. Who's calling this? Yep. All right, that's good. I just want to make sure this is named correctly here. Add condition. No, I am not. I am going to not get the list before these. I'm instead going to maintain the list always.
Okay.
So my sub-bullet point down here is always. Maintain the list always. So I'm going to do that instead. That means when I remove a sprite, I got to remove it from the list. Okay? So this is, we're not doing this anymore.
That restart's finished, right, Mark?
Yeah, I'm streaming again. You seeing me or no?
I'm not. Refreshing again. Oh, I see you now.
Okay. Wonder if we got a big lag again. Yeah, interesting. Okay, so we're going to do this, maintaining the list always. Let's try that. So that means we have
Cutting Girl agrees you are back.
Okay, cool. Variable that's a list of what are we a list of? We're going to be a list of sprite proxies, I think. SP like that. Oh, wait, that didn't work. Oh, I've got to do array of that, right? Okay, there we go. So that would template, by the way, is VA for variable of type array. And since it's generic, I put a dot and then the SP. So that's how I get that. SP is a shortcut we added for sprite proxy. And this is going to be the, we need one of these separately. Oh my God. Yeah, now we've got complexity again. We need one of these separately for each of the characters.
Oh.
The existing code will work without it. Now I'm back to, I'm back to this. Hold on. I'm back to this now, right here. Getting the list before and getting its position to calculate it where it is. That's kind of what I'm looking at now. All right. So let's go there then. Let's play in that space. It's not going to be necessarily easy. Yeah, let's see what we can do. Let me clear all these guys, hide all those guys, and get maximum coding here. So look at what we need to do. We've got two places: add condition and remove condition. I guess we'll go into add conditions first. Add shifted, then we go into prepare condition for entrance. It's got its X and Y position already calculated, I think, before we get in here. Yeah. So here is where we figure this out. Yeah, it's definitely a one-dimensional code we're looking at here. Where's my right edge coming in from? It's passed in. Yeah, so add condition right edge makes sense down below where we're only going to be a single stack.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fighting with, can we keep this method and make it work in a wrapping way as well? I think we can, but we need to pass in the columns for this. Update conditions is here in the condition manager. How do we determine the world view? That's passed in as well. Okay, so let's go to update conditions and let's figure out columns, and we're going to pass those in. From the in-game creature manager, we're going to pass in 3 columns to update conditions. From same thing here. 3. Hold on, let me jump back. I want to make these actually a, since I'm got it in more than one place, I want to make it the, I'm having a hard time typing right now. In-game creature manager dot num npc condition columns. That's what I want to do there. All right, let's continue to go back to that other 3 we added. Do the same thing and drop a marker here for a second. Come up here. It's going to be 3. Okay, so update conditions. There. Only in, oh wait, and here. This is for the players, I bet. Yeah, update player conditions. So this can be what do we have here? Num player condition columns. All right, so we'll do that. We'll declare that here. So we got 1 there, and we got 3 in the other scenario. So we're going to come over here. We're going to say num columns. Set that equal to 1 as the default. Showing up right there behind the clock. There it is, right there. So there's my num columns. And I think I got to add it to both of these guys. I'm going to throw it right after worldview. Let's go into remove condition. I said right after worldview, didn't I?
Yeah.
Or before. Wait, let me double check it. It's after. Okay. All right, there's that. And in add condition, got num columns there. Let's set it equal to 1, because we've got optional parameters here. Okay. Getting stack height. Let's go figure that out. This is num stacked. I need really to find out how many are stacked. That's what I want to get. Num conditions stacked. We're going to do that. Return num stacked. And then down here, we're going to say return this dot get num condition stacked. Passing in player ID. I only need player ID. I don't need scale. Okay, so there's get stack height. Now I'm going to go to instead switch get stack height to get num condition stack. I think.
So in this case, we're going to scale down to 1/3 of the available space to have 3 columns as a kind of a standard, as opposed to what happened when the nameplates changed, because they changed by a variable amount. So your conditions are different sizes potentially for players, but a standard size of roughly 1/3 width for any NPCs, yes?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
So, and again, we're doing this. We're figuring out the list before. So before adding, we're going to call this.get num condition stat. That'll tell us how many are before us. So if it's 1, we know the shape. If it's 2, we know the shape. If it's 3, because we're always going to stack like this in this order, right? From left to right, and from the base foundational edge towards the other side of the screen, in whatever direction we're going. So at this point now, the whole point of this is to figure out the bottom edge and the right edge is what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to do. When we call add condition, I want to see the right edge calculation for this. It comes in here, right? Is this the flipped one? It is. So the right edge, there it is right there. Get condition right edge for an existing creature. That's coming from the in-game creature manager. So what that's going to do is that's going to figure out that right edge, because we originally anchored them in the bottom right so that when the player's conditions came up, you know, they would show up right there next to the bottom right anchors, going right next to the edge here. So there's a little bit of weird kind of math going on here. But so the same thing when we do condition right edge for an in-game creature, let's bring that up. And we pop a condition in, let's target knocked in for a second. And we bring a condition up there. That right edge for that is the bottom right edge of the blinded right there. That's where that's the right edge for that guy in the code that we're in the add conditions code. Here, let's go back in there.
So it's I+1 times width for the purposes of this.
I+1 times width.
So you start with 0, which is its actual placement within the list. Add 1, and then 1 multiplied by, in this case, 1/3 of the available space. Kind
of, but the I's really got to be a modulus on the num columns is what I think it's got to do. So in other words, we've got to do a div on this, and we got to do a mod on this. The div is going to tell us how far down, right? And the mod is going to tell us where to go to the right.
Yes, because without that, I'd just be changing a horizontal column into a row. That's no good.
Yeah. But I think you were kind of getting there. You were saying, here, let's do it one step at a time. So yeah. So let's do that. Let's say num condition stack divided by my columns, num columns, right there. We just want to do like a math.round on that. Math.floor. That's important distinction. It's a math.floor on that. And that is going to be my rows deep. Okay? So if num condition stacked is like if it's 1, 2, or 3, I think I need to do a -1 here. I think that's the math. Because if it's a 1, we're going to get 1/3. If it's a 2, we're going to get 2/3. If it's 3, rows deep. Or we can change this to rows completed. Maybe that's a better name for this. And then I won't be bobbing back and forth on this whether I subtract 1 from it or not. So now when we get to 3 stacks, 3 divided by 3 is 1. Rows complete is now finally 1. Okay? So that's rows complete. Existing stack height is now going to be rows complete times whatever the math is at the end of this thing, right there. So it's going to be rows complete times that. That's my existing stack height. Okay? And I think that's going to be, this code is going to continue to work. right here, because this is whether it's flipped or not. That's the code we wrote for the flipping, which I think you might not have been here for, Rory.
No, I don't think so.
All right. And then the right edge. The right edge, we got to figure that out. So we're going to say we need to calculate what the offset is to the left. And the indent, maybe we'll call it. So QN indent, and that's going to be equal to the mod. Or wait, maybe do this. Num tiles to left. Okay. And that's going to be equal to this mod that. And so I think it's that plus. Wait, is it just that? So if we have 1 mod 3 is 1.
It's literally, yeah, I think that might be right.
2.
Well,
if we have a 3.
Number of tile stack, does that include ourselves?
Yeah, I think we need to do this. Hey, look, if. No, actually, this is all going to entirely work. It does not worry about it. I don't care about whether it's ourselves or not. But if we get to, the cool thing is when we get to the 3 mod 3 is 0, but we're not putting it over on the right side. We're putting it on the left side, so there's going to be no tiles to the left. So then we're going to have an indent. I'm pretty sure this is all going to work. Indent, it's going to work for stacking, but then removing and restacking is going to be a nightmare. We're going to fix each of those pieces. But the indent is going to be num tiles to the left times, let's do this. Let's create a new constant for this. And we're going to call this the icon actual width. And that's equal to this. And then here. So there's my indent. And then I'm going to go into my right edge, which I think I'm passing this in as a parameter. And I'm going to say plus equals my indent. One problem though, one potential problem here is that if I do decide to do 2 columns for this guy, I'm going to have to move my right edge over by 1 column for this same code to work, or I'll have to change the code. All right, let's see what that does. Let's refresh it. And there's 1, 2.
Hey.
Wait, I'm hitting refresh. Hold on a second. That's the wrong button I want to hit. Let's do it again. There's the button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Nice.
Wow.
That looks pretty good.
It's not bad. It's too wide.
I was going to say, I have a little question over our assumed width.
Yeah. Our width
I don't think it's quite accurate.
Our width is, not exactly what we want to use there. So we want to change that. That is in our in-game creature manager. That constant should be where the other constants are. I thought I'd be able to see them here. They are right here. Creature scroll width is equal to this. Creature scroll.
I assume that it actually is that wide, but we've got some transparency to account for.
Yeah. So I'm going to call this my horizontal white space, maybe.
Okay.
And that's going to be equal to, I don't know. Looks like it sounds like I lost the music. I'm not sure why that happened. Let's see if we can get that back. I'm going to set that equal to, that looks to be about, what is that, about 12 pixels? Let's do that. And then we're going to, so we'll keep this 175, even though we're only using it in one place. We'll subtract that other piece there. And put that there. All right, and now we're going to do another refresh. Oh, they're all popping. So the refresh didn't get them all out. So let me clear them all. We'll pop them out though. Oh, it's not working? That's my only change?
Wow. That seems weird.
There must be some other problem I've added. There must be a problem here. I don't get that at all. Let's.
That is very strange. Is there any compilers? Can we do a full compile and see does anything spring?
I'm going to do this. I'm going to come in here and we're going to go to like that and refresh and pop one, or well, put one in here. Nothing. What? It doesn't make any sense at all. No errors here. Okay, so no errors. Let's undo.
You have an in-game creature manager. I don't know if it happened just before.
Inspect it!
Oh, wait, I know what it is.
But there were things that weren't saved.
I know what the problem is. No, I see what the problem is. This is coming up undefined because it's not in in-game creature manager, it's in condition manager. That was my problem. It's right there.
Okay.
That's it. Okay, sorry guys. Sorry everybody. Inspect it. Yeah, I'm totally with you on that.
7, where are you? We need your help.
We need your help, Genescu 7. Is it working or not? What do you think? We can't tell. I'm hitting all the buttons. As soon as Genescu 7 gets rid of that guy, or Yoda gets rid of him. Is it working? I don't see. Oh, it's all behind there. I don't see anything. Still not working. Hold on. Did I just not give it a good refresh? Still no? Hold on. Wait.
Creature horizontal whitespace surely is in in-game creature manager.
And it was good.
Because creature things be in creatures' places.
Right, I'm not doing it. Sorry then. Okay. I'm not happy about that at all. All right, so we go back to here and it's going to now suddenly work. Let's try that. It totally works?
Yeah.
What are we doing wrong?
Why?
The creature scroll width. We're taking that. We're subtracting 12 from it. And now it fails?
I mean, there's some multi-level crazy going on here.
Let's be very, very careful about that. Yeah, awesome. I'm not sure I'm with you yet on awesome on that. One more time, refresh. And refresh here. Yep, it is not working.
Wow.
So if I change
that's
this,
not saved. There's an asterisk up there.
You saved me, Rory. Look at that. Speaking of not
Is
saving,
that what it was?
That's got to be it.
Never saved at the point.
Good job. Look at that.
Variable was not there.
That's it. All right, good. Wasn't saved. We didn't save the file. All right. So there we go. So now they're in a good place here. There was a little bit of a restack that I think occurred there, and that happens when we delete. So the deleting we still have to fix, right? Given all the ones there, blinded is actually coming in the right spot. Let me clear all of them. So we'll look at that one more time. We'll look at the adding. The adding is working. Okay.
Nice.
Good. And yeah, it's nice.
Good.
It takes up a small amount of space. Okay.
Can afflict even more things on the players and the NPCs.
Yeah. Yep. We're gonna do more. Okay. So next, let me hide Nocturne for a bit. And let's work on the removal, I think. And then I think the last thing we'll do is the restack. So let's look at remove.
Mark, given the nature of our most recent bug, i.e. the lack of having saved a file, let me ask you a question. When you go to save a file and you're doing so with a keyboard, what is your go-to keystrokes to do that?
I hit Control S.
You do go Control S. See, I've got a hang-up that goes much further. I go Alt FS. And I have noted something that happens to me a lot in the most recent couple months. And I noticed it happened just, again, only once to yourself, but sometimes I hit that keystroke so quickly that something else happens. And I get
Save As?
effectively a Save As dialogue coming up.
I've been noticing that actually for several months. I've seen that coming up.
I've been wondering, is it me? Am I hitting something differently?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Or has something changed in Studio?
Yeah, Coding Gorilla says I do Control Shift S by habit. Yeah, I think that's what I'm doing, Control Shift S. And that thing
Okay.
dialog pops up. What I believe it is, so this is my kind of weird theory on this. I believe that there's an error occurring on save. I actually believe it may be coming from Dropbox, although I've got Dropbox disabled right now. So pause. So maybe that's not true. But I do know that when I've been in other apps, specifically Adobe Premiere and Adobe After Effects, and I go to save, it'll sometimes say, sorry, can't save. And I'll try again and say, sorry, can't save. There's an error. I try again and it says, okay, I saved. If the time that it does that, if I shut down Dropbox, it always saves for me. So it feels like Dropbox is somehow locking the file in the way that Adobe Premiere is not liking, just for a moment, and Adobe Premiere is not handling it correctly. I don't know.
And I will say, I will agree that this thing is afflicting me more often when I do it out of sheer habit, when I hit save repeatedly. You know, I'm doing this combination quickly, maybe not having given the previous one time to finish, that kind of thing. So that would sort of jive with what you're suggesting there.
Yeah.
It's affecting me recently, and I wondered, is it me or is this happening to other people? And it happened just once there to you, and I thought, interesting.
No, we'll when we see it, I'll call attention to it. Coding Gorilla says I must have just hit Control S. Yeah, you're right. The last time I must have hit Control S, but I think by default I'm always hitting Control Shift S. I think that's by default. That's what I'm doing as well most of the time. So yeah,
Okay.
I agree with you, Coding Gorilla. I must have hit that for that time. All right, removal. We're looking for removal. So we'll figure this out. Remove condition. Start there. Okay, we're going to go in here. We've got the nameplate left edge. I almost think I want to go back into add condition and just kind of I just want to kind of I want to copy like some code here just so we have kind of a sense of the logic we use to figure out where things go when we do our return, when we do our remove.
Mm-hmm.
Remove condition with animation. Get stack height below. Okay, here's where we've got all kinds of issues. Animate sprites vertically. That's got to change. Yeah, the get stack starting Y is wrong. Get stack height below is wrong. All right. So I think we're going to get to a point where get stack height below is never going to be called. Yeah, this is the only place it's called from right here. And I'm about to get rid of that. Let's change this to get, because we're only calling it from here. So I'm going to call this get num conditions before. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
We're going to have to change the logic down here. We're going through all of these. We're checking to say, hey, does the creature ID match? Because we're looking through all the sprites on screen, right? Yep. Is it stacked or is it thrown? In other words, if it's not one of these two, then it's being removed. So we want to ignore that. If the world view is normal, then if the column count is 1, then we're doing this. This code works. But if the column count is more than that, so we're going to need to add my num columns here. And now we're going to have to figure out this logic right here. This is we're doing the reverse here in this space, so we're going to have to kind of reverse the left-right logic too. It's a little mind-blowing to me, I think. I think what we need to do is have an else here that says, hey, are these equal? In other words, I think we know for sure if the final Y's are in different piece, then we're going to throw it in the sprites before category. But if they're equal, then we need to see if it's to the left of it, is what I think we need to do. So we're going to say if, and it's going to be final y is greater than, final x, sorry, is greater than the final x of the compare condition state, then the sprite is also below. Okay? I could come in here and make this an OR, kind of combine these up above. It's a longer line. I don't think I'm going to do it. Sprite is before. Okay? What am I returning here? Nothing? So I'm just getting the count. Okay, cool. All right. So that's, I think, the logic there.
Yeah, that one looks fine.
Then down here, we've got, well, if they're equal to each other. And now we're in the else of the, what's the worldview here? So worldview normal is here. And this is the opposite of it. Looks like I'm missing a closing paren here.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this just to put a comment here.
It's almost like you want to have, and I think it probably works less well now because you're checking two things. But if before you could conditionally set a variable called earlier, and then you get to check if earlier, not worrying about whether that means above or below.
You want to set that where, though? I'm not sure where you're setting that.
Well, this is it. Yeah, I think it doesn't work so well now anyway because you're checking two coordinates. So you're checking both x and y.
All right.
So, yeah.
So I think this is the logic. I think this is it. I hope it's it because I haven't deeply thought about this, and I kind of don't want to. I want to move on. So I'm hoping that this code is right. Basically what I've done is I've taken the logic here, right, that I need to check that this is less than that. And now whoops, that's got to be an X right there. Sorry. That's not going to work if I make those kinds of mistakes. If they're equal, then I just want to see if the X is then to the left, meaning it's now coming earlier than that.
Yes. So under one circumstances, things build to the right, and on other circumstances, they build to the left.
Yeah. But in both cases, they are before, is what they are. So that's my get num conditions before. The problem is I've got some code in here that's similar, really similar to this, but something else is going on, and I really would love to find that code and fix it. What am I missing here? My for. I'm missing an end to my for loop. There. Okay. I want to find that other code. I feel like I barely have the capacity to hold this all in my head right now. Here it is. Get earlier sprites from stack. Okay. I want this. I want the code we just wrote to be here. And then I want the other code to, so, all right, hold on. We're going to combine these. Yeah, that's bugged me. And I didn't realize they were that similar. But they appear to be. Oh, the difference, though, is I'm passing in a threshold to this, is what I'm doing. And I really need an X and Y threshold.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little tricky. So what we're going to need, compare condition state, is we're going to need to do some refactoring here, is what we're going to need to do. I want to extract all of this. And this is
so it feels like the side effect, which is currently pushing it into an array, needs to be sort of extracted out. So, if all of these things, or alternatively this, then true, and then later, if true, sprites below, push test sprite.
Yeah, I think the answer is yes to that. I think I agree with what you're saying. I don't want to pass in condition state, though. I want to pass in just a final Y, a compare Y, and a compare X is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I want to say this is going to be my compare X, And
Aren't you wishing this was C# code right now?
I know, yeah, I do. Because of Code Rush's...
There are great Code Rush support in this
yeah,
area.
decompose parameter is awesome there. So
Yeah.
we're going to, yeah, I know. I was thinking that. Okay, so everywhere we get the finally Y, it looks like we're going to need to pass in the creature ID as well. But everywhere that finally Y is there, this is going to be compare X, right, like that. I want to be very careful. There's my finally Y becomes that. My final Y becomes that, and this becomes a compare X. Okay, then we need this guy, my creature ID. So we're going to add this guy up here as well. Okay, so there's my creature ID. So now here I want to pass in this dot final X. Here's something I can do here, though, is just duplicate line right here. And we're going to change that to final Y. And then we want to do the creature ID as well, which is inside of here. Dot creature ID. Okay, so now get earlier sprites looks good to me. Okay, this method looks good to me. Now what I want to do is I want to go find that other thing out there that we were working with that was looking with that final X and final Y. Here it is. Get earlier sprites. I want to find whatever this thing is. Oh, look at this. I am passing in. Oh, no, wait. This is the one we just
This
did.
is the same one.
Sorry.
Have you got this in the, I forget the name of the feature, the little balloon on the left of the screen that show you your recent locations?
Yeah, I think I do, but I feel like a tab next reference should find it. But it's not finding it. Why is that? Oh, because it's final X. Do I need to go to final Y? It's final Y I need to be looking at. Here's where it is. Get earlier sprites from stack.
There we go.
Okay, so now I want to go find that, and it's called in a couple places, get sprites above. That's different. Get earlier sprites. That's different from what we're doing. We're getting sprites below. Hold on. Oh, because I've got the logic reversed here, I think. I've got the logic reversed.
Right, because we've got above and below where really we want earlier and later.
Yes. So earlier, yeah, we need to...
And our other method is now converted to work in that sense.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's get later sprites from stack. I'm going to be kind of clever in this, I think, is what I'm going to do. What happened here? Did I miss a closing paren? Nope, I have it right there.
You're going to need to close your curly. You've
I'm sorry.
duplicated the signature line.
Is it just because it hasn't returned a value? Yeah, it must return a value. It's just early. They're just like saying chill is what they're saying. And now what I want to do is I want to return this, and now I want to pass in, pass in everything, but I want to switch my worldview. I want to flip my worldview. So we're going to do that. Whatever it is, I'm going to do the opposite of it in here. So we'll say let flipped worldview, you type worldview, and then we'll say, hey, if worldview equals, the problem is bringing up worldview, there it is, worldview dot normal. Then we're going to say flipped worldview is equal to worldview dot flipped. Otherwise, it's equal to normal. So we just toggled this, and then we're going to pass in the flipped worldview. That should change the logic.
Yep.
My Y defined is my Y threshold. I mean, hold on. I don't want get earlier. I grabbed the wrong one. It's just get earlier. What? What is it? Get earlier sprites. And what do I need? I need the sprites. I need to compare X. Okay, so we'll add these. Where's my creature ID? Needs to be first, not my sprites. sprites, compare X, compare Y. Got to type something here apparently for IntelliSense to tell me that I've moved to a different parameter. Compare Y. Creature ID goes there. The worldview is there. And the Y threshold is gone. Okay. And get later sprites from stack. Get earlier sprites from stack. What's interesting about this is it intentionally passes in undefined here for get earlier sprites from stack for the Y threshold. Yeah, so this is it's a little tricky in that when that's the case, it just grabs all of them. And let's find that. And then I want to say this to say get all, I'm going to just change this to get all sprites from stack. And I don't need any of these pieces passed into it. I'm going to have to declare this, which I will do. Let's go back to where we were. I want to see if there's any other calls that pass in undefined to it, because it's basically saying I want all the sprites. It's not good. So that's good. So let's go declare that one right there. And we're passing in the creature index and the sprites. I'm going to switch the order of these. Sprites in the creature index. Like that. And I almost think I just want to write my own piece right here. It gets to, it's basically this. It's this code with maybe a little one line or two removed from it, is what it is. And
you've got a dedicated method then for getting that particular circumstance.
Yeah, I just need to stay clean right now though.
Yep, absolutely. You keep focused. Don't lose momentum. Try to remember what you did.
Pudding! Pudding! What are you doing on my show? Dessert time. I meant to say ID here. Goodness, 7 is a party.
Gotta love parties.
Those are my dance moves, man. That's how I got my woman. That's how I got my lady. You gotta go?
Gotta go, man.
All right, buddy.
I'll be back tomorrow, though.
Thanks, Roy. Roy always gets us through the hard work, doesn't he? See you then, buddy. We can't do a party now. We just did one. How's everybody doing today? I think everybody was okay. You got your lady with pudding? Yeah, no, it might have been that. All right, so here, hold on. Creature ID. Hold on, I've got to get back into focus because I'm all over the place with regards to stuff right now, and it's a high risk time to put errors in the code, so I've got to be careful here. But I think we're doing good. Yeah, Jetsom's here, just hanging out, trying to get some good code written today, and I'm worried that I'm on the precipice of writing bad code. Hard to find bugs. That's what I'm worried about. So let's stay focused. Get all sprites from the stack. I don't need this, and then I want to return the sprites. Let's rename this to the sprites like that. And let's make this be our return type. Oops. There we go. That's better. See what I'm talking about? Writing, I'm totally think I'm on the precipice of writing bad code. So get all sprites from stack is now there. Now we've got the conditions to move. Animate sprites vertically. We're going to fix this. That's not what we want. We'll fix that in a little bit. Let's keep going with what we're doing because we're talking about removing sprites now. We've got get earlier sprites from stack. And I think we need somewhere a get later sprites from stack. Is that right? Or no, wait, this is the one we want to remove. We want to remove this. This is now in one place. And I want to replace this with a call to get earlier sprites. This one. I want to call this instead. We need a creature ID, which we can get from our compare condition state. That's coming in right over here. We've got our worldview we already have. Our compare X and Y we need to figure out. It's going to be here. Final X and the final Y. And what's this last piece right here? Really have that there? The creature ID. Okay. I think that's it. And so now get earlier sprites from stack should be gone. We are not using this anymore, which is what I wanted anyway. I notice we're sorting here. Do we have a sort call down below? In anything else? We do not. So this I feel like is kind of needed. I think this is needed, but we need a smarter sort is what we need. To get earlier sprites from stack, hold on, I'm going to comment this whole thing out. We're kind of getting into high risk place here where we're taking code that really works and we're just gutting and replacing it. What's a different kind of pudding, I think? Pudding out to shake off from Mark. What are we talking about? All right, guys. Stay focused on the code, please. Stay focused. Help me out. Okay, get later sprites from stack. I need to come in here and fix this. I got something on the clipboard. I'm just gonna put a marker here. What's on my clipboard? Oh, the sorting. I've got the sorting. Get earlier sprites. That's what I'm talking about here. This. I don't have sorting at the very end of this. And I think it's needed for the delete to get everything to go in the right spot. The problem is we're only sorting by Y position and not X position. And this needs to be way more complicated, is what it needs to be. Yeah, I don't think I can do this in a single lambda. Work is always better. Yeah, more complicated is always better. Well, I think I need a different way of sorting and without a lambda, and I need to look at the syntax because I totally don't remember the syntax of this on how to do this as a function. But, you know, in other words, can I just do this and then have a return in here? Is that going to work? Is that syntactically correct? It is. It looks like it is. Okay. So if that's the case, yeah, you can do that. All right, sweet. So now what I want to do is I want to say, hey, look, if and I actually want to get, I don't want to actually work with the Y on the sprite. I want to go with the data as the condition state. And
No, get the dog out. Go out of here because he has a bird in his mouth.
oh. Is this the dog you begged me to get during my show?
Came in the house.
Kieran's like just covering her face.
10-year-old picking it up.
10-year-old's got everything under control.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so we're going to say
Bird.
S state 2. That's what I think I'm going to call this. And I'm going to do this right here. There's state 2. And we're going to get ourselves a state 1. I think Karen's doing a great job distracting as well. What's my problem here? Oh, sorry. Gotcha. Okay, are we going to get rid of this red line? What's the red line here? Okay, there we go. We got rid of it. Okay, cool. And then now I can come in and say, hey, look, if state1 dot final y equals state2 dot final y, or I'm sorry, if they're not equal, then I can simply return, wow, working really hard to get there. Okay, I can equal, this is equal to state 2 final y minus state 1 final y. Otherwise, it's equal to state 2 final x minus final x. Wait, oh no, shoot. No, I can't compare. It's going to give me a number here that's not okay. I need to have this number divided by something, I think. So it's like a fraction of a number. Is that right or no? Or will it work? Maybe it will work. Because it's not just a number. It's not sorting the numbers. It's just getting the result of 2 and figuring it out. So I think that's good. All right. I think that's good. Okay. So there's sorting in one direction. And then the opposite direction is down here. 367 says smoke. Why isn't smoke working? There it is. Okay, good. Where is test smoke? Hold on. I'm gonna totally, speaking of distracted, hold on. Should I really do this? I want to go find this. Game engine? Nope. That's not what I was looking for. I'm looking for the word smoke. I'm going to get 177 matches. Ooh, but this looks like it could be it. Spark smoke add? No. That's a different one. Let's go back to our list. Hold on, I think I got a better search idea here. No? Oh, because there's going to be a... It's going to be like that, maybe. I think this is it. Build smoke. Where are we in the Dragon Back game? Particles per second. I just want to see what happens when we switch it to 200. This is the Dragon Back game. Let's go refresh that. Let's try test smoke again. It's kind of cool. Let's drop the opacity down. Do we have opacity here for this particle opacity? I don't see it in here. Max opacity. is equal to 0.5. I think that plus 200. What about the relative variance on the radius? Is that an option I have at all? Particle radius, target, relative variance, here. So this is where we can really change things up here. Let's throw it to that. It's like 150%. Let's do a refresh here. Refresh the data. Send that test smoke out again. It's not bad. I want to make it wider in the middle. Trying to think the direction of it. There's a little bit of a losing the frame rate in there with all of those I'm seeing. All right, let's do that. That'll be our final little tweak of that, and then I'll get back on target here. Yeah, I just wanted to play with the emitter on the new machine. We haven't really done that yet to see how well it works and handles. All right, there's a new variation of it. Okay, it's the smoke. All right, close that down. Close that down. Close that down. Okay. We want to take this. And then we want to do this, the opposite of it down here. So we're doing an S1 minus S2. State 1 minus state 2. And that should take care of that. So that's going to give me my sprites below right there. Why is this? Oh. Oh, shoot. My returns are these. I don't understand why it's graying this out. This return, my understanding is this return is returned to this function, which gets me for each one of these that are called in here. But this is great, saying it's unreachable code. You're returning the result of the sort. Guess what I'm confused about? I want to do the equivalent. I want to get, what do I do here instead of return, I guess, is what I'm asking. Is there another piece to get the answer out? Because before, return sprites below. Oh. That is right here. I see. Got it. Thanks. I see it now. The problem isn't here. The problem was here. That's why it was unreachable code. Got it. Thanks so much. I got it. Okay, cool. Let's see where our other problems are. So now I think this get earlier sprites is going to work with the sorting. Might find out that we have to change this up. Hopefully not too much. Hopefully I haven't broken a lot of code. And wait, what's happening here? Oh, no, that's where we just are. Okay, good. I thought I jumped to a new place. Get earlier sprites, get later sprites for stack. We're going to call get earlier sprites, and we need compare X and Y. That means we need to send those in as well here. So instead of this Y threshold being undefined, we need to have two numbers here. Compare X and compare Y. Let's go find, and I'm going to make you, I guess I'll do these before. All right, so we'll go find get later sprites from stack. And we're looking to pass in after the sprites After sprites, we're going to pass in compare X and Y. Whoa, there's no call to get later sprites from stack? That's gone now? Oh. Hold on. All right, now I think I'm going to have to, what's my error list to say? Okay, we do have to come back to this. Are those all my errors in this space, same space? They look like, yeah, 438, 39, 440. Karen, can you close the door for me? I think, is it coming from the bathroom or no? Okay, that's good. All right. All right, let's go in here. We'll return back into this space over here. Remove condition with animation. So get sprites above. Let me just follow this in. Does this touch any of the code? Yeah, get earlier sprites. So that's code we've already done. That's going to sort them at the end. Okay, so sprites above are there. Actual icon width is there. That's good. I think we're going to need that. Num conditions stacked. Now, I'm going to call this get num conditions 4, and then we'll pass in the creature ID. So we're going to say, I am going to create a shortcut for this if I can. I don't have the menu option here. I thought I did. All right, let's go into the CodeRush menu. I thought we added this for JavaScript already. Maybe we haven't done it yet. Okay. So I'm going to go into code templates. And then I'm going to go to the options page right next to it, the template name variables here. And my types, we're going to add a new one here, CS for condition state. Like that. Click OK. And now if I want to create a new variable, a new constant, for example, of type condition state, I just type in QCS like that. And we're going to call this our compare state. That's equal to sprite dot data as, and then I should be able to type in TCS to get a condition state right there for me. Put that to expand out. Okay, excuse me. All right, there's my condition compare state. That means with my compare state, I can now come in here and get its creature ID. Num columns. So this we're going to pass in. Wait, why am I not seeing num columns here? Oh, because I haven't added it yet. Okay, so we're going to say. Maybe before the sound manager? Who's calling this? Just one spot? Wait. Yeah, one spot. Okay. So before the sound manager, we're going to add that. And I think it's in the condition manager, the variable that we added before. Num NPC conditions per row. Like that. Move condition with animation. Call it just num columns. Okay. So now we got num columns coming in. Indent, this is like where, this is tiles to the left. This is by some sort of compare column right here. But the get sprites above is getting the ones after this. Is what it's doing. So the indent yeah, this needs to not be get num conditions 4. This needs to be get sprites below, I think. Get earlier sprites, is that what we called it? Get earlier sprites. So we need to pass it the sprites. Compare X. Which is our final X. Final Y. So remove condition with animation. This sprite passing in, this is the sprite we're to remove. Like that. Okay. Compare state, final X, final Y. The creature ID is next. The world view. And that's it. So this is going to be, this is always going to give us array back no matter what. So it's going to be the length of that. So num conditions, stack should really be the num conditions, num earlier conditions. So rows complete means rows. Actually, I think we don't need any of this. Well, wait. I don't think we need any of this. I think what we need is a for loop here. Let's see, stack height below. I don't think we need it. That's getting my starting Y, animate sprites vertically. These 3 lines we don't, I think we're getting rid of. Let's go to animate sprites vertically. Are we passing in columns here? We're getting my new X and my new Y coming in here. Who's calling this? Remove, stack, restack. All right, here we go. Into position. So animate sprites into position. And to do that, we need to descend sprites above are going to be the sprites to animate. So when we remove a condition, we want to get whatever's above it based on the world view. We need to know how many are already stacked. The starting, so see this starting Y? We kind of need to know what that is. The number already there. So get earlier sprites is the num earlier conditions. So I think we need something that basically says animate sprites into position. The start Y this stacking start Y, this call, this is getting a little complicated here. All right, we're gonna have to come back to that to figure that out. So I need num earlier conditions to pass into here. Sprites to animate. The nameplate left edge. So this is corresponding to the kind of the starting X position here. In fact, if we go in to here, there's my new X right there. I want to look at this nameplate left edge that's being passed in here. Any other calls to this, or is this the only one? Yep, only one there. Nameplate left edge. It's only coming from here, right edge. So right edge.
Your pork-loving daughter has a question.
Do we have what? There's like enough for one person in the fridge.
Is that going to be you, Daddy? Or
It was going to be me, but somebody else is eating it now. Okay. 100%. Okay. Okay. Hey, Karen. Just asking Karen to close the door. Get back in the code here. Okay, the right edge, that's what I was following. I was following the right edge. And it depends on where we're going to be. Yeah, the right edge is basically the starting point for that. All right, back into remove conditions. Okay, so we need the number of earlier conditions. I guess my question is, I wasn't sure about the starting Y. It felt wrong to me to have that starting Y there. The nameplate left edge, I guess I'm okay with that. Excuse me again. Sprites, origin, X and Y, that feels important. Kitchen icon link, this feels good. Num columns we need to pass in as well. All right. This has got several calls from multiple places, so we're gonna have to update all of these to pass in the number of columns. That could be potentially problematic. All right, so I got to throw this in at least. Num earlier conditions. I'm going to throw it in at the beginning, like that. Let's go declare it in the in this piece. So we got num earlier conditions we're passing in. Let's look at the other calls to this. Stack condition sprites. This is going to be a big fat 0 because we're restacking all of them. There. Animate sprites into position. There's the glow sprites. This is also going to be a 0. Okay, that's not bad. I feel good about that. All right, restack NPC conditions. Again, we're going to say 0. Is that it? All right, that looks like that's it. Okay, so num earlier condition is going to tell us how many are already in the right spots that we're going to ignore. We need the number of columns. That's the other piece we need. I think I got num columns passed in here. Yep, I do. I think I'm going to throw num columns next. After earlier conditions. So num columns here, do we have that? Stack condition sprites. Could I get it from the world view? Not really. Who's calling this? Interesting. It's only called here from the players. All right, so let's add this as well. Interesting, it passes an X but not a Y in here. All right, so I'm going to add it to the end, I think. Num columns. Should I set it equal to 1 or no? I think I should explicitly pass it in at each point. So this is player, so this should be, I think, in player stat manager. And what you got? I can't eat it while I'm doing my show. Did you make that for me? It's for you now. You're lucky. Don't leave it there.
I'm coming to take it away from you.
It's right down there. Somebody let it right before the dog could get it. Okay, this is, what is it, num columns? I thought I had the num player in the player stat manager. Is it in the condition manager? That's what it is. Okay, good. So there's my player columns right there. Stack condition sprites, restack player conditions, do the same thing there. That's going to give me my column 1. Okay, good. This is only coming. Move player conditions. Stack is only in those two places. Felt like it was a third place that was coming from. Okay. Maybe it was just because I needed the num columns for animate sprites into condition. Yeah, it was here. I needed num columns here. That's why I had to add it there. Okay. So now so stack condition sprites, we're passing that in. All right. But now that we have that here, we can now add that. So I'm going to throw it right here. Second parameter in, num columns. Animate sprites into position. It's actually the third parameter in after earlier conditions. It looks like I already added it here. Okay, it looks like I already got part way there. Okay, that looks good. And now we need the num columns here. Good. Okay, animate sprites into position. We are getting there slowly. No, I don't have my num columns here. I need that. And that's the last one. Okay, so now we need to restack NPC conditions for, well, since I know they're NPCs, my conditions can actually come from here. Okay. All right, now finally, we're down in here. Num earlier conditions, these are the ones that are already in place. I think it's a for loop. Oh, man. I don't have the sprites in the right order. Or do I? Are they passed in here in the right order? I think they are. Hold on. Let's double check. What are the sprites that are coming in here? Because we're iterating through them here. We really need them to be in the right order. Remove condition. Get sprites above. That feels like, and it's going to do get earlier sprites, which is going to sort them in the right order. Okay. A little bit worried about this not being used. I feel like this should be used by now. Condition icon length. Where are you? Oh, it's just an extra piece. Good. All right. Screech Rat's here. How you doing, Screech Rat? When you finished school and thought, I'll never have to do math problems again. I'm not really doing math right now, I feel like. I'm just struggling to get all the pieces to get the refactoring right and not break any code. And I feel like I'm barely hanging on. I feel like I've probably already broken the code and I didn't see it when I did it. That's kind of where I feel like I am now. All right, so let's see if I can stay focused on here or recover my focus here. Get back in here. Remove condition with animation. All right, we seem to be here. We verified that the sprites above were in fact going to be correct. Animate sprites into position. The sprites to animate. These are the ones we want to animate. So this is just going to tell us where we already were so far. Okay, I got it. I think I got it. At least I think I got a sense of where the code is going to be. So we are going to say, let's create two numbers here. Current row. And I think another one called current column maybe. And maybe I could get rid of the word current since okay, row and column. The row is equal to, I need to get the total. No, hold on, no. The row we're in is equal to num earlier conditions, div my num columns, and that whole thing floored. But yeah, I get the sense of what you're saying, Screech Rat. That, yeah, the times I have been working on math, I find, it's really important to visualize. I'll often, one of my tools I'll use is I'll bring this guy out just so I can quickly draw some pictures and kind of get a sense. Like we use this to visualize some math. Whoops, let's group all of that together so I can move it with one click. Yeah, we did this right here, which I thought was pretty good. In terms of visualizing what's going on and how to get these conditions to kind of come on stack and land on each other. Let me show you that real quickly here. Like that. So that's the code that's going on there. No matter how tall it is, it still throws it just a little bit higher, right, to calculate that velocity and all of that to get up there. Okay. So the row we're on is this. The column number we're on is equal to the mod. So if we're at 0, we're at column 0. If we're at 1, we're at 1. If we're 2, for a 3-column system, I'm assuming. And then once we get over that, we go cycle back. So columns can be 0, 1, or 2 all the way through. All right, next, my target X. Now the new X is that far left position right there. So I want to say, my target X is equal to this plus column times my length. Do I have a length in here that I'm passing in? I don't like length showing up just out of nowhere. What's that? That's not what I want. Scaled sprite height. So scaled sprite height and width are the same. So that's what I'm looking at there. Maybe I'll change that to scaled sprite size or edge length. Scaled sprite edge length. Okay. All right. So that is my target X. My target Y is equal to that plus row times the same. Then I need to advance the row and columns as we continue to go through here. Now that I've used them here and here, I think I can advance them. So I think it goes like this. Column plus plus. If column is greater than or equal to, so 2 equals and greater than or equal? No, it's not. If it's greater than or equal to num columns, then we're going to say column is equal to 0. Coverage template S0 will get me that. And then we're going to say row plus plus. And I think that feels safe to me. I was thinking about calculating it as well. But I think there's a chance I've completely messed this whole thing up. And there's also a chance it just might work. There's our ease code that's getting to those, using the target X and Y locations. The delay is there. Let's see if we have any errors in here. No errors. All right, so let's try a refresh. I'm so nervous on this. Here's the refresh of the data. Let's take a character. Let's target TLO. Let's give him condition. There's 1, 2. So the adding should work. I don't think we broke adding. Now I'm going to remove blinded. Nothing moved. Wow. Let's rule out any kind of errors in the code. So to do that, I'm just going to bring this up and say localhost. Okay, and then let's try to get rid of charmed. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Okay, that's not bad. So why did this one work and the other one did not? Why didn't we see that or did we see it in the main one? I'm not sure if we did or not. Let's clear all of them and let's add them again on the main one. Get rid of blinded. We're looking to see similar behavior in both. I'm going to take out blinded. Take out charmed. Is it because I had nothing at the beginning of them? Now I'm seeing similar behavior in both. What is going on? Everything's good here, no errors. So at least that part's good. So it's only logic is our problem here. Let's go to, just as a second, let's go to, let's refresh the front overlay where the players are. Let's add some player conditions as well and see if those at least still work and are not broken. That's not good. Why are players stacking from the world view for players is totally wrong. All right, so we better fix that. Yeah, it's not good, is it? Animate sprites into condition. Hold on a second. I've got. I'm going to play with one of my sound cards for a second here. Hopefully this won't cause too many problems. It's not that sound card. I think it's the other one. I don't want to touch that one. Because that one of my sound cards. All right, what do we got here? I never finished school mainly because I never started it. So it's Coding Gorilla. That's impressive. Okay. Yeah, it's got the whole world view is flipped. I think I made a mistake on the world view passing that in. Is what it looks like. That's coming in from the Dragon Front game. Somewhere in here, change player stats, handle command for existing player. Restack conditions is in here. Wait. What happens if I add some of these and then hit restack? It's stacking them up. Oh no, it's putting them right on top of each other is what it's doing. So interesting, that problem. Okay, we have two problems here. Update, let's go into update player conditions. Update conditions. Add condition. Worldview. My worldview coming in from here. Update player conditions. Here's my worldview. Worldview comes before num columns. Look at this. I had no errors, but I'm passing that in for the worldview. That, I think, is going to fix one of my problems. Let's see what happens with that. That's in the front game, right? Front overlay, let's refresh it. Let's get to my data, send it to good data over, and then let's put that up. There we go. So that is, there's blinded, deafened, charmed. Cleanup is not good. If the cleanup worked, does the restack work? The restack's messed up as well. So my strategy at this point is with the new code we've written, let's get the bottom code to work like we're expecting it to work. And then we'll come back up to the top code and figure out what's going on with that. When I say top code, I mean the code for the non-player creatures. So, yeah, I'm convinced that this stacking height is correct if these were all correctly there. So it looks like, let's clear them all. Let's do 1, 2. That stacking is correct. Let's get rid of blinded. And charm should drop down. And it does not. So we want to go to remove, I think. Condition. Remove condition doesn't use its columns. That's kind of interesting. It looks like I didn't finish that. I'm passing num columns here. Let's see what's going on. What's going on wrong here? just before sound manager is the one I'm passing in. Okay, there I know what to pass in. Yeah, I think I'm making an assumption. I think I've got a bad name here. This is by creature ID, but I think it could be any, I think this could also be a player ID coming in here, is what I think. I think there's a shot of that being true. If that's the case, then I want this to be my num columns, and I want to continue passing that out. I don't think this is necessarily a problem, but I want to at least be consistent in that. All right, so let's try that. We'll do a refresh on the front overlay. You also get the back overlay cleared up there so we're not blocking so much code. I want to also make this faster since we're on the front. I want to copy this and we'll go all the way up to the front. And now paste it here so I have one here too as well for that button. Okay. Yeah, still no move. Restack. Yeah, the restack's also problematic. Okay, so I think I want to look at the remove condition from the player's perspective. Here's the call when we put it out here. So update player conditions. All right, so I'm going into remove condition. I'm going to change this to ID. And change this to ID because it seems to be all right, so here we go. Sprites to animator get sprites above. So if we're talking about a stack, let me clear all these and create a stack down here. Like, let's do this 1 second. I want to go in and target. Can I only do miles on this? There we go. So we're just going to target miles for a second. So if I were to remove charmed right there, we would expect that get sprites above would give me deafened and fatigued. That's what I'm expecting. So I think I want to, let's verify that, at least that we're getting inside of that. So let's do this. Let's bring up Let me clear this a second again. Clear all those. Let's go hide all of these guys just so we can maximize our screen, what we're seeing. Let's go to here, refresh. And let's stack. Oh, I want to be in the front game here. Drag in front overlay. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I want to get rid of deafened. I'll take deafened out. So I'm expecting fatigue, frightened, and grappled to show up. So I'm going to hit the button to take out deafened. Yeah, it took the wrong set and moved them down, is what it did. Looks like it even called it twice. I don't get that. Why am I getting that twice in there? I took the 2 below. All right. So get sprites above failed. Get earlier sprites. Which is essentially get sprite below. I guess what I'm wondering about is why am I not, I've added code to flip it, get later sprites from stack. It's the same as essentially get sprites above. So I essentially want to do the same thing. I believe that might help us a little bit. Let's try it out. Let's take out fatigued. All right, better. It's at least moving the right set. Take out frightened. Looks like these are happening on both layers. I just realized right here. Take out 4 for frightened. Take out frightened. There it is. Yeah, and so with the new code changes, you can see it's stacking, kind of stacking the way we want. At least moving them. It's just not finding the right height of the stack below. Okay. All right, let's figure that part out next. What's going on with good earlier sprites? Number earlier conditions. It's coming back with 0 here, I think. Let's see if we can find it. So we'll take out grappled, and the earlier condition should be 1, 2, 3, 4. Should be 4. There's grappled. It's 4. Okay, that's good news. That's totally good news. Let's now figure out what's going on. Animate sprites into position. It's in here. I wonder if that is related to it. And I wonder if this is also an issue right there. I think I have to get rid of that. It's feeling better to me. Let's do a refresh of the front overlay. Now let's take out charmed. Oh, it still didn't fix it. Well, one thing that it actually seems no different from before. Let's just double check it over here. And let's do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get rid of deafened. Yeah, no, it's still bringing everything down to the bottom, it looks like. Copper Beauty's here. Hey, buddy. Oh, you know what? I just realized I'm not hearing.
Copper Beardy is in the house.
Because I just realized I'm not hearing the sound with that, and I think it's because I touched one of my sound cards. But I bet you guys heard that. Let me know if you heard that sound. Mr. Nuts Guy needs to get a new review of me. Okay. Agreed. Let's figure it out now, shall we? Let's go do that. Copper Beardy. Awesome stream. It's combining two words together. It's an awesome stream. All right, we'll get to here. How do we feel about that? There you go. Right there. So there it is. We got that one. All right, I think we're good. I think we're good. Flame Creations is out there. Hey, Flame Creations. Rah! Okay. I almost think it's negative Y factor here. Is kind of where I'm at now. Let's try that. See how that works. Oh, wow. That was kind of interesting. That one worked. All right, so let's take out charmed. The order is swapping, and they didn't actually move down one. Take out grappled. Fatigued. Going the wrong way. Why? I don't even get this. I'm like, all right, let's go one more time. We're going to take the front overlay, refresh it. So this is back to the old code we had. Take out deafened, and frightened goes all the way down to the bottom. So one more time. 1, 2, 3. Take out the middle one, charmed, and deafen drops all the way to the bottom. Why are you going all the way to the bottom? I think we're going to have to send this out. And I think we're going to have to come over here and take a look at that. That's what I think we're going to have to do. So let me zoom out so we can see all this. Clear all. 1, 2, 3. Take out charmed. Number earlier conditions is 1. That's a correct number. There's 1 below it. So the row number we should be in should be 0. The column should be number earlier conditions div 1 columns, which should be whatever. It should be 1. And this is rows complete. I wonder if it's just a this instead. Right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Get rid of charmed. It dropped way below. Right, num earlier conditions divided by num columns. Wow. Hold on though. If num columns is 1, wait, is that going to work? No, that's right. That's going to tell me what. Let's see, 3 divided by num columns, which is 1. We're going to get 3 as the row. 1, 2, 3. And my new Y is going to be that bottom right position. I'm feeling like I need a break, is what I feel like I need. I feel like I walk away from this and like in a few minutes I come back, toggle a few pieces, and all of a sudden it works. That's kind of what I'm thinking I'm looking at right here. So I think it might be a good time to break. I'm like, yeah, unfortunately, I think my focus and ability to really see this right now is impaired, or at the very least below average. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and we'll listen to my listen to what my mind is apparently saying, and we will get a raid going here. Not a raid. That's not this channel's spirit. I know, pudding. All right, you want me to keep trying? All right, I'll try. I'm just not feeling it. I'm like, it's somewhere in here is part of the problem. It's like I'm off by one on my row, but off by one in the wrong way is what it seems like, in a way that's not intuitive to me. I got a few more toggle ideas, I suppose. We'll go ahead and do it. We'll go, you know, pudding, you're here. I'll try my best. Delete it right all over again. No, I don't think I want to do that. I don't want to do that, I think. Let's see if I can visualize this. Let's just see if I can visualize this. So earlier conditions, we were logging that out and we felt that number was right. So that's the number of pieces below me. So that's the question is, what row am I going to go on? The line of code I commented out is I was adjusting new I every time by the size of the row is what I was doing. And now I'm kind of just calculating that flat out target Y by saying it's equal to this minus, actually, minus if I'm going up. This column feels correct to me still. We're going to try it. Drag front overlay. I'll do it here. All right, so 1, 2, 3. Get rid of charmed. And nothing moves. Interesting, when I did a refresh, it just dropped right down, though. That was kind of interesting. So let's try again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get rid of charmed again. Something moved. So its row that it thinks it's good at is higher than I want it to be at. The row is too high. Let's put more on. I just want to see. I'm going to take out charmed again. I just want to see what happens when it's above. Are they reverse order? Yeah. So my row here is one too much that we're starting at. And what happens if I do this? Let's see what happens. Let's refresh it. Deafened. Is that it? It's got reversing. It's reversing the pieces. No, not quite. Poison didn't. That taking that away didn't fix it. Poisoned. Nothing. Interesting. Blinded. Will that do something? What is happening here? Incapacitated? Oh yeah, that doesn't look good, does it? The other ones are in the wrong place. You sure about this, pudding? I'm thinking that this is a pretty good sign that I need to take a break from this. I do a restack. The restack's interesting. It put one off screen, I think. Which means, yeah, one's off screen. That one looked like it worked. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why is this seeming to work now? Is it because the one I'm removing, the second from the bottom, always? Let's see what's happening with this. Let's take the third from the bottom. Okay, let's take the fourth from the bottom, which is fatigued. Off by 2 now. So we basically fixed it so that if we remove the second from the bottom, like if I hit 1 for charm now, these might stack correctly. So that is a clue. This -1 was used to fix that. What if we did a minus? Well, that's not making sense. That's like dangerous space to go into. The -1 was just a kind of an offset there for row because we felt it was off by 1. I wonder what it feels like it's off by 1 if we're doing the third one. Let's just see and take a look at that. So the second one. Let's clear them all. In this case, the third one is deafened. It seems off by 2. Let's do the fourth one, fatigued. It's off by 3. Let's do blinded. Blinded seems to work. Charmed is going to be off by 1. I feel like we're really close. The bug is in here. Yeah, I feel like we're down to here and here is where the bug is. It's in like, essentially we're looking at the Y problem here. It's this line of code. Is num columns equal to 1? It absolutely should be. Num columns should be 1 when we're calling animate sprites into position. We can verify that. Where's my num columns? There it is right there. Pretty sure that's the case. I would be surprised if that was not happening. Yeah, but I'm feeling like we're here and here are my two places where this could go wrong. What we have found is that we're off by 1 is actually the amount we're off by is the amount of pieces below where we are. So it's almost as if we need a minus it's like we need a minus num earlier conditions times that is what the fix looks like it needs. No, sorry, not a minus, plus that y factor times that. That's what it looks like the fix needs. I don't understand why the fix would need that. I don't quite understand that. Let's just see if I'm right on that fix and see what happens with that. So I'll take out fatigued. I'll take out petrified. Oh no, it's not quite there. It's also, there's something about between doing it the first time and the second time, things kind of seem to be moving in the wrong position. It's as if the sprites we're collecting are the wrong ones we're getting. That's kind of what it's looking like to me. So there may be a problem in another place. I just hit the refresh button, which refreshes it and reloads them. Let's try incapacitated, taking that one out. So that works. So we hit the refresh button again. Notice it corrects the order there. Let's take out frightened. Yeah. So aside from the reversing there, which we've got to fix, let's take out deafened. So if I refresh and restack, everything works. I think now it may not work. If I had poison now, yeah, now it doesn't work. But if I do the refresh, when I'm actually refreshing the whole overlay, it's kind of reloading them and putting them all up in the right places. Then taking away these pieces seem to work. So I need to reverse the order of the sprites that are being sent here from the player. Yeah, I think I'm going to refresh this and give this some thought. I need to think about this. Let's go into conditions for a second for our bad guys or our non-player characters, whatever. Let's see what happens up here. Oh, that looked good. But I would imagine we still have problems up here. So let's take away blinded now from both of them. Wow, the second one was not bad. Let me do a refresh on it. Where do they go? We've got state-related issues when we do the refresh. Just gonna keep throwing them out there. Clear off. Got blinded. So after the initial setup, the first one works. I think the second one does not. I think I grappled. Yeah. So there's that swapping of order seems to be problematic, which I don't understand because I feel like our logic should be order independent. But what's interesting is that if I clear and I just create a bunch of these, right now, at this point, like if I get rid of charm, this should also work. Ooh, charm does not work. Notice it's off by 1 row. See that? If we pop it back, it would all work. Hold on a second. Let's just get rid of all these. Let's get rid of frightened in the middle. It's off by 4 rows. It's not plus Y factor times, it's just that, I think. Just the plus? There's no Y factor here? Let's try that refresh. Oh, that's even worse. Or maybe not. Let's hold on a second. Hold on. Let's clear these all. Add them again. Taking out deafened. Nope. That's not good. All right. So at least I'll put that back to where it was, and we'll get you a. This is an interesting clue too. We put out this new set right here. Kind of knows where they need to go, but it's off. The rows are off. Well, but it sees these though. 1, 2, 3. This is actually correct. These new positions are correct, based on if this were stacked properly. Okay. The restack button kind of works there though. That's interesting. Let's delete everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Get rid of deafened. We decided that doesn't work. Hit the restack button. Restack seems to work. All right, I'm going to think about it. I may have a faster, better way to come into this. One of my problems seems to be, let's try to figure out where we are starting, row and column. And I think, what if I didn't do this? What if instead I just sent all the sprites here and just said, you know, since we see that the refresh seems to work, and we just essentially called the refresh. Instead of moving only the pieces we need to move, we move all of them. And if it's already in that same position, we won't do anything, right? Because we're checking here for that. That, I think, might be a less error-prone way to solve this. I'll think about it. We'll come back to this tomorrow. And now I'm going to do get arrayed out here. So let's see who's out there. I'll send you to Chef Brent. Oh, Coding Gorilla, I didn't see your comment until just now. Should you be resetting column to 0 in the for loop, or should you be resetting it to 1? Should be 0. I feel pretty strongly about that. All right, kids, go say hi to Chef Brent for me, and we'll see you tomorrow.